Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everybody for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much to everybody who's listening in the podcast. Today is Wednesday, April the 8th, 2026. I'm here to speak about the missing woman. There is a breaking news right now, and this is regarding another um, woman who went missing while vacationing in the Bahamas. And the breaking news right now is that they just said her husband has now been arrested. And I'm going to give you all the details. This is another story that repeats itself. We hear so many times, right? But it says here that Lynette Hooker, 55 years old, was traveling in a motorboat, and her husband, 58-year-old Brian Hooker, said that she had fell overboard. But now the breaking news tonight is that he has now been arrested. So I'm going to talk to you guys about that. Before I continue, let me give you a trigger warning. As you probably just heard this story, it's going to be very sensitive. And also, I want to thank you guys so much for listening using Spotify. Don't forget to follow the podcast there. And of course, thank you so much everybody who's watching this video right now on YouTube. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. So this is another sad story, you guys. I'm trying to give you more details. Like I said, this is just breaking news. But what I was saying is that this story repeat itself, right? There's always that suspicious of, the husband said they have, they're always together, and then suddenly he has no idea what happened, or it's a crazy accident. And there's another very popular case on trial right now, of the guy who took his wife for a hike, right? And then he tried to push her off a cliff and basically just get rid of her by taking her on a hike together. That's crazy. And here we are, another story that repeats itself, right? So let me give you more details about this case. Police in the Bahamas said that late Wednesday that they have arrested the husband of a U.S. woman who was aboard a boat near the archipelago and vanished. Authorities said 59-year-old, man did not identify, who was not identified, was arrested and is now being questioned, they say. A Coast Guard spokesperson said that they have opened a criminal case investigation. Officials said Lynette Hooker, 55 years old, was traveling in an 8-foot motorboat from Hopetown to Elbow Cay on Saturday night this past weekend, and that her husband, 58-year-old Brian Hooker, told authorities that she just fell overboard with the boat keys, causing the engine to turn off. Authorities said that Brian then paddled to shore and alerted someone about the incident early on Sunday. Brian broke his silence 4 days after, and after she was swept away, speaking out, Army claims that he failed to notify his wife, daughter of the tragedy for 24 hours, right? How crazy is that? And he said, and the reason that I'm speaking in this tone is because we already know, there was also breaking news about this case early this afternoon. I'm going to see if I can get that for you. Um, it's just the same. A lot of these cases, they all develop the same pattern, right? So he broke his silence and he said, I'm heartbroken over the recent boat accident, unpredictable seas and high winds that caused my beloved Lynette to fall from our dignity near Elbow Cay in the Bahamas. Brian Hooker said in a statement on Wednesday. And then it says here that um, on despite desperate attempt to reach her, the winds and currents drove us further apart. We continue to search for her, and that is my sole focus, he said. On Tuesday, the Lynette daughter, Carly, called for a full investigation into the events leading to her mother's fall. There have been prior issues brought to my attention which might be important to um might be important for any thorough investigation, she said. If this is truly was an accident, I can understand and live with it, she said. However, there needs to be an intensive review of the facts and circumstances of this tragic incident before that can be determined. And this is what the daughter said yesterday. However, there's need to be a U.S. Department, U.S. State Department spokesperson said that he was aware of the reports regarding a missing American near Elbow Cay. They added that they've been working with the Bahamian authorities to provide assistance. The investigation remains ongoing as the search for Lynette continues. So, the Bahamas currently has a Level 2 travel advisory warning visitors to exercise increased caution due to increased crime and swimming-related risk. And I know this is the time now, we just went through that whole Easter weekend. There's a lot of people vacationing right now. A lot of schools are off for spring break and all of that. So this is the time for that. So in a summary, the advisory cited violent crimes such as armed robberies, burglaries, and sexual assaults, as well as lack of regulation around boating, which have led to injury and death. So this is very sad. You know, people. I'm sure that was the last thing in her mind when planning this trip to something like this will happen. But let me tell you something that I read earlier today about what her daughter has said regarding something that happened. Let me see if I can get that for you. Lynette Hooker's husband said, heartbroken over her disappearance after stepdaughter claimed he shocked out the wife. So it seems to me like there was like, there's what he says, right? The husband, what he says, and then there is the daughter, who's saying, he can pretend to be all of this, but my mom has said this and the other about him, and there was an incident that happened before, and this is why I wanted to find out to tell you, because people tend to always announce what they're gonna do something crazy. It's so insane. It's almost like people say it jokingly and then they eventually do it. And that's why sometimes when women go through this type of situation, when they say, the husband lied to the police, to the cameras, and then eventually he got arrested, then you hear the friend, the close friend, right, of the woman, of the victim, you hear the close friend, or you hear the family member say, she always said, if something happens to me, it's gonna be him. If something happens to me, he will be responsible because this happened before, or he has said it many times, that out of anger he will say things like, oh, I'm gonna do this to you, or I'm gonna throw you overboard, or I'm gonna choke you, or something like this. And I think it's an announcement. When they do that, it's an announcement, because the person in the right mind will be like, they either will take it back right away, they will never joke about something like that. I don't know, like you will never joke about something like that. And if you have, if you have a connection, you have a relationship with the Lord, you'll be like, I'm sorry, God, that I even said something like this. So it says here that, let me just read briefly. This is what the daughter said. This was so important. This was breaking news yesterday about this case. She said there is a history of him choking her out and threatening to throw her overboard. I mean, so the fact that this is actually happening makes me believe that there's more to the story. This is why the daughter said, we need a full investigation about this. Right? And history of choking her and threatening to throw her overboard. Let me just tell you something. When you see somebody who, because they put their hands on you, right? And they get crazy violent. And perhaps they might take it all back and be like, oh, I didn't mean to get all upset. We can forgive, right? And we can move on and restoration, all of that. But if it's an ongoing pattern, that's like when you have to pay attention, and you have to pay attention. And also, saying to you, oh, I'm gonna throw you overboard, I'm gonna throw you out of this car, or even say things like, or people that lock you out of the house, that's just crazy. And we see that happen so often. People just, they don't realize what's going on, right? Um, that's when you pay attention. But it's so sad that the daughter said there is a history of him choking her and threatening to throw her overboard. And she's saying this is actually what's happening is very there has to be more to the story. She said she did a live interview on television, I think it was yesterday morning. She said she wants the law enforcement to conduct a thorough investigation because she doesn't believe that Brian's version of events, um, you know, and she doesn't believe it. A history of not getting along, especially when they drink. So this is a daughter that has seen this behavior. Um, and I also understand sometimes you can say to somebody who's in a type of relationship like this, you you need to pay attention, you need to do something about it. He's threatening you for a reason, but you can only advise somebody so much until they actually do something about it, right? It has to take for them to understand what's going on and to actually want to change. And this is, I mean, the daughter is speaking out. She's saying he has done this. They usually fight a lot when they're drinking. And imagine that on vacation on a boat in a different land, right? It's not in a different country. So imagine, right? It could have been also been premeditated by him because of what he has said in the past multiple times, like the daughter said. And it's just crazy. Now the breaking news is that the body say a man at that same age has been arrested. But it looks he got arrested. It seems like it was him arrested. Yep. So it says your husband of a woman who reportedly lost at sea said he's heartbroken and focused on the search. But I thought it just excuse me. Yeah, so this is just breaking news like 17 minutes ago before I even started this. He has been arrested. Husband of U.S. woman who vanished from boat in the Bahamas has been arrested. It's so sad. The story repeats itself. We hear this so many times, the same pattern, right? And pay attention to those threatening things. And sometimes we will be like, oh, it's just joking. Or people excuse it and dismiss this type of behavior. Oh, every time he drinks, he gets like that. I don't care. Like, I don't pay attention to that. If somebody does this type of pattern of behavior constantly, like a person in the right mind, a person who really truly cares for you will never threaten to kill you. Like, I don't understand how that's insane. That one thing is to joke about like one thing is to joke about, like I said, but like a continuous thing to say, there has to be at some point that you will feel like a conviction and be like, oh, I should have never said that. I'm going to stop saying that, right? But if this is a continuous thing, it's almost like a unnatural, not unnatural. I'm trying to find the right word, kind of like a un, uncontrollable type of announcement that the person will do when they're about to do something crazy. And now he has been arrested, so I'm sure they have either some type of proof, either has confessed, or somebody saw something, right? Some type of evidence. So I'll definitely keep you guys posted on this case. Let me know guys what you think about this. Thank you so much everybody for coming back to the channel. Thank you so much everybody who's listening in the podcast. Have a good day. God bless. Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much for coming to the YouTube channel. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good day everybody. God bless.